Hi, it's Sean, the Fluency Awesomizer. Here's another video where I want to take a few minutes and help you decode big words and also give you lots of spelling tips to carry around up here and use when you need. Now, I've got two words I want to look at today, so let's get ready. I'm about to show you a word, and I want you to read it right out loud to whoever you're there with. Read this right out loud. What's this word? How about this word? All right, it's an interesting pair today. They're very similar. The top word is matinee, and down below is manatee. And I want to take a moment and illustrate the difference for you and show you how you might confuse matinee with manatee. But before I do, I want you to think of the old fable, The Tortoise and the Hare. Like all fables, the tortoise and the hare comes with a moral, a life lesson, and that moral is slow and steady wins the race. Now, that seems to apply only to people who are in a race, but slow and steady is a lesson that you can apply in all sorts of areas of your life. And one of them is when you're decoding a big word like matinee. To give you an idea, here's the tortoise. The tortoise, if he thinks of reading matinee as a race, he's going to take it slow and steady. Now, he might not know this word, but he's going to be responsible trying to sound it out. The hare, however, the hare wants to win the race as fast as possible. He wants to zip through this word, and that's where mistakes can be made, when you rush through words you're not too familiar with. So before we compare the two words, which reader are you, the tortoise or the hare? Go. Slow and steady is going to win this race, and the race being decoding the word correctly. So let's compare the two words. Here's the comparison between matinee and a word the hare might say instead when he rushes through, manatee. Now, both words start and end the same. It's in the middle where things get interesting. There's a T followed by an N in matinee. There's an N followed by a T in manatee. So the letters reverse. There's an I in the middle of matinee, but an A in the middle of manatee. So up top, you see the word tin in the middle. And down below is the syllable nat. Now I want to illustrate the confusion. How would you confuse matinee with man-a-tee? Well, matinee has man. It doesn't have an A, but it has an I, but it has the T of manatee, T-E-E. So some of the letters are just rearranged up top in matinee. So if the hare comes along to matinee, watch what can happen. And this is very easy to do if you're in a rush, if you're an impatient reader like the hare. On your mark, get set, go. Did you see the N and the T switch places? They reversed. That's easy to do. And suddenly matinee looks like manatee. Look at that. So if you thought, or maybe even read out loud, manatee, that's an illustration of how your brain processed those letters. It's easy to reverse a letter, like the N especially. So there's how matinee can turn into manatee. Now I want to look at the syllables real quick. Mat in A. Why doesn't it say mat in E? We're going to look at that in just a moment. But it's a three-syllable word with an accent on the EE ending, matinee. That's the stressed syllable. Man-tee, another three-syllable word. Now let's look at the root words of both of them. Starting with matinee, and this is, I'll show you why there's an A sound at the end. Matinee comes from the French word matin. Matin. Looks like matin. Matin. Matin is French for morning. It's a terrible rooster impression, I know. I just don't want to do the old cock-a-doodle-doo. So matinee is another French word. It also means morning, or things having to do with morning. Now here's where the A sound comes in. Look at this E. That's an accent over that E, and that is characteristic of the French language. Sometimes an E has an accent, and that's where the A, long A sound comes from. That's pronounced in French matinee, not matinee. So that explains the A sound in the word we use in English, matinee, which is a daytime performance. Okay, the origin of morning, matinee is a daytime performance, not exactly morning, but we're familiar with the word from the movies. As long as movies have been around at theaters, there's been a morning show or an early show, maybe 11 o'clock in the morning or 12 noon, especially on weekends. All right, and that early show, the ticket to that show was less expensive than other tickets, and you're probably used to seeing movies in the afternoon or in the evening, but you can go, depends on the theater that you live near, but there might be an early show and the tickets are less expensive. And that's important to people who, if you're taking a big group out, maybe you have like 6 brothers and sisters in a family, a matinee is a good show. Save a couple dollars, but the matinee has always been part of the movie going experience. And that's where we get the word matinee. Now, the origin of the word manatee, this is interesting. We all know what a manatee is, but it might be the old Latin word. The origin might be the old Latin word manitus. Manitus, and in Latin, that means having hands. Anything with hands. So if you look at that manatee, maybe someone thought the manatee, those flippers looked like it had hands. So manitus, there's also a word in Spanish, manatee, with an I ending. And in Spanish, that means udders, the part of the cow where historically a farmer always had to squeeze to get the milk. Right? Everyone loves milk, whether it's chocolate milk or milk for your breakfast cereal. Right? Machines do that work now, but farmers historically have had to squeeze milk out of cows from their udders using their hands. So that's the Latin origin, manitus, with hands, right? So manatee. And a manatee is also known as a sea cow. So there's a connection there with the Spanish word manatee having to do with cow udders and how you have to squeeze those cow udders to get milk. I don't have that job, but I don't think I would want it. You're thinking the same thing. But that's where we get the word manatee with the 2 E's. That guarantees a long E sound at the end of manatee. And not to be confused with banana tea. All right? Manatee. And manatee, if you don't know this, it's an endangered species, and there's an organization called the Save the Manatee Club. And I encourage you to go on the internet, Google Save the Manatee, and see how you might join and make an effort to save manatees. It's really important to do that, protect that species. That's the story of the word manatee. Now, I want to wrap up the video here with a fluency passage I wrote to help you practice some of the patterns we just discussed. And in just a second here, I'm going to show you the passage. I want you to hit pause, consider it a race. I want you to read it out loud from start to finish, but be the tortoise, slow and steady, right? Hit pause, you have plenty of time. On your mark, get set, read. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel where you can find lots more videos just like this. I post them every weekday to help readers in 2nd through 6th grade and beyond, and even readers before 2nd grade if they're ready for the challenge, to help them decode big words and to give them lots of spelling tips and maybe learn a little something about history too. Mom or Dad can follow me on Facebook at the Fluency Awesomizer. In my photos at that page, I have over 200 fluency exercises just like these to keep you real busy and to awesomize your fluency. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and come back and see me at the Fluency Awesomizer real soon, all right? Bye.